Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning.
Welcome to Town Hall. My name is Stephanie Angello, and I'm Chief of Staff here at the City of Bethlehem, but more relevantly for today's proceedings, I'm the World Heritage Coordinator. We just had the opportunity to experience a beautiful ceremony at Central Moravian Church. Thank you, Reverend Janelle Rice, Reverend David Bennett, Bishop Giesler, and of course Charlene, for your beautiful words and for making the ceremony so joyous and meaningful. It was a wonderful way to start out our day and the perfect prelude to this press conference and report on Moravian Church Settlements, Bethlehem. Today, we will have the opportunity to hear some of the history of how we got here, how Moravian Church Settlements, Bethlehem became a World Heritage Site, and what's next. As you may have heard, this process has taken more than 2 decades to achieve, and there are many people who have contributed to this journey. Shortly, you will hear some remarks from our partners, the people on either side of me, all of whom I have the utmost respect for because of their dedication to their institutions and also for their years-long commitment to the nomination process and to preserving not just the buildings of the Moravians, but the story. I believe I speak for all of those who have helped achieve this great status as a World Heritage Site when I say that we take this responsibility seriously. At our transnational Moravian Church service on Sunday, Reverend Rice so eloquently said, "At the heart of Bethlehem and at the heart of Moravian Church, what we are striving and continuing to be is builders and sustainers of community. What we intend to do is use this designation to do just that. We are thrilled by this designation, and as Mayor Reynolds has so many times said, we cannot wait to share with the rest of the world what makes Bethlehem so special." Before we get started, I'd like to recognize some of our government and elected officials who are here with us today. We have Sabrina Laughlin representing Senator Fennerman's office, Amy Cozy representing Senator Casey's office. We have Ann Ryan, Deputy Secretary of Tourism for the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development. Emily Fraze, representing Senator Boswell's office. First, we have Representative Samuelson, the Executive Officer for the County. And we have Council members for Rowan, Hillary Freetek, and Rachel Williams. I'd also like to welcome some of our transnational partners from Christiansfeld, Gracehill, and Herrnhut, who have tuned in live and have been instrumental in creating this multinational World Heritage Site. So now I'm pleased to welcome Dr. J. William Reynolds, Chair of Bethlehem World Heritage Commission and Council.
Okay, guess we're going to go without the microphone here. It is wonderful to be here today, and I want to thank everybody. We were just down at Central Moravian Church, and I think that, as Steph said, between Reverend Rice and Reverend Bennett and Bishop Giesler, the message of what this is and who we are could not have been made clearer. And they said that they didn't talk to each other about those messages, but that's hard to believe unless there was a spirit that connected them, because it truly was a testament to what this inscription is about and what our community is about. And it is about the buildings, and it is about what our ancestors built 280 some years ago, but it's also about the idea that this is about the future. It's about honoring those ideals of humanity, the ones that we honored when we were in India, that the world has looked upon us for. And today is about that. It's about talking about the past, it's about talking about what's going on now, but it's also talking about the future. But we can't do that without also referencing somebody that is not here. And Bishop Giesler said this down at Central Moravian Church, where he said that it wasn't him that should be in India. It should have been our great friend, Bishop Hopton Clennon. And I would only disagree with one thing that Chris said, and that's that Bishop Clennon was not with us, because he is with us always. And anybody that knew Hopeton, and I think all of us did, and all of us had the honor of calling him our friend, understood that it was never about Hopeton. He never thought, even though he had one of the most important positions you could ever find, that he was important. It was the work. It was the faith. It was what we do when we leave church. It's what we do when we leave Sunday morning. That's what the goal is to live a life where you can be proud of those ideals. And he did it with humility. He did it with honor. He did it with respect. And he did it with a sense of community that reflected what we are about. So before we do anything else, I do want to just take a moment to honor our great friend, Bishop Clennon. Thank you. And you know that somewhere he is laughing and saying, just get on with it, get on with it. But he will be with us always, and he will be a model for all of us to live up to. With that being said, we do have a thorough, full agenda here this morning. And one of the first people that we're going to turn to here as we have kind of our agenda, if we can go move that slide there forward. We're going to talk about a bunch of different things, but the first kind of conversation about how we got here, how we got to this incredible opportunity, is we need to turn to the person that we think of the most when we think of World Heritage in Bethlehem, and that's Charlene Donchez-Mowers, who is... I didn't even get to the reasons why they should give you the standing ovation. So, Charlene?
Thank you. Oh, my goodness. Oh, good morning, everyone. Well, we would not be here at all if the Moravians hadn't founded Bethlehem in 1741. And I believe there is a map of Bethlehem in 1784. And if you look carefully, you can make out Church Street and what would become Main Street. So a Moravian from the 1700s would feel very comfortable walking down the street today. So, as you know, Bethlehem was founded by a small group of members of the Moravian Church from Europe who purchased 500 acres at the confluence of the Monocacy Creek and the Lehigh River. And for the past almost 300 years, Moravian church-related institutions have been preserving and continuing to use many of the buildings in our World Heritage Site, some for their original purposes. Now, I'm not going to give you the whole history, but I'm going to jump ahead several centuries to 2002. In April of 2002, then Mayor Don Cunningham, the late Reverend Dr. Doug Caldwell, who was then senior pastor of Central Moravian Church, and I, as president of Historic Bethlehem Museums and Sites, met with representatives of the International Council on Monuments and Sites, the International Center for the Conservation and Restoration of Monuments, UNESCO, Christiansfeld, Denmark, preservationists and architectural historians over a 2-day period of April 24th and 25th of 2002. I actually went back to check the date. So it's been 22 years and 3 months, if anyone's counting. These people visited Bethlehem and traveled to many other historic Moravian settlements around the world to determine which ones had the highest degree of authenticity and integrity. So then in 2003, Christiansfeld invited representatives of 6 historic Moravian communities from Germany, the Netherlands, South Africa, the United Kingdom, and the United States to participate in the first International Moravian Heritage Network Conference with the goal to gain recognition for Moravian heritage around the world. Don and Doug thought I should represent Bethlehem at the conference. At that conference, all participants agreed to form the International Moravian Heritage Network. And to my surprise and delight, they wanted to meet again the following year, but here in Bethlehem. So, in the fall of 2004, we held the second conference at the historic Hotel Bethlehem. Princess Alexandra of Denmark, who at that time was the patron of the Moravian Heritage Network, attended along with representatives of our sister communities. That is a picture of the princess in the courtyard of the Gemeinhaus with her husband, Count Jefferson, and me. This was very exciting. The Gemeinhaus is the only 18th century Gemeinhaus in existence in the world, and it's right here on Church Street. Our goal was to understand what each of us had to do in our respective countries to work toward World Heritage status. 2 years later, in 2006, we met again at a Moravian Heritage Network conference in Cape Agulhas, South Africa, visiting the nearby historic Moravian settlement of Herrnhut, and that is the Indian Ocean behind our group. I was very honored to continue to represent Bethlehem at these conferences. The following year, our group met in Gracehill, Northern Ireland. That is the Parliament building in Belfast, each time refining and better understanding the needs and requirements of our respective countries for World Heritage. One key requirement is that each settlement had to be named to their country's tentative list in order to be nominated to the World Heritage List. In 2008, after being closed for 17 years, the U.S. tentative list for World Heritage nomination finally reopened, but only for 3 months. I submitted the nomination document using our two World Heritage sites, two National Historic Landmarks, the 1762 Waterworks, which is America's first pumped municipal water system, and our historic 1741 Gemeinhaus. Well, Moravian Bethlehem was listed as pending, not on the tentative list, but pending in 2008. It's nice that we were mentioned, but we weren't there yet. So the National Park Service, Office of International Affairs, reached out and recommended that we apply for National Historic Landmark District status to encompass all of our 1700s Moravian buildings, which would make a stronger case for World Heritage. Well, we're still not there. Over the next several years, while the list was closed, and with multiple visits to Washington, and with the pro bono assistance from my wonderful friend, Washington Council, isn't that exciting to say, Washington Council, Jim Barnett, thank you, Hank, I prepared the nomination document and was successful in having Historic Moravian Bethlehem designated a National Historic Landmark District. That happened in 2012. The recognition plaque is on the west wall of Central Moravian Church along Main Street for all to see. However, the U.S. tentative list would remain closed for several more years. In 2015, we received very exciting news. Christiansfeld, our sister community, was inscribed on the World Heritage List as a Moravian Church settlement. Then, the very next year, we received more exciting news. The U.S. tentative list reopened after being closed for 8 years, and we were notified that historic Moravian Bethlehem would finally be named to the U.S. tentative list on December 16th, just a few days prior to the 275th anniversary of our city of Bethlehem. December 24th, 2016. So now we're started in 2002. It's now 2016, and let me turn back to the mayor, and he will continue the journey. But I'd like to say thank you very much to all who helped over that 14 or 15-year time period and continue to help. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlene. And we really can never say thank you to Charlene enough. This is an effort that has now gone through 4 different mayors, and I remember talking to Mayor Cunningham about this a couple of years ago, and he remembers Charlene being the only person that thought this was possible 20-some years ago. And Don was like, Charlene, you go for it, and I'm right behind you. But you know, for many years, this was Charlene's dream, and you know, we can never ever thank you enough, Charlene, for all of the incredible work that you did that set up a lot of the exciting moments of the past couple of years. So once again, thank you for everything you've done. So by nature of this process over the past couple of years, there has been some aspects of this World Heritage nomination process that, you know, has been complicated for people to understand. We haven't always talked about it. We've been working with the Department of Interior and our other countries. So one of the things we want to do today was just briefly talk a little bit about how World Heritage is structured. And as Charlene said, in 2017, Mayor Donchez put together a couple of different structures. The first one is the World Heritage Council, which currently exists now and will exist going forward, with the 3 property owners, the city of Bethlehem, the Bethlehem area Moravians, and Moravian University, and then the 2 lessees, Central Moravian Church and Historic Bethlehem Museums and Sites, which is kind of the central decision-making group. And then the past couple of years, we've also added our great friend, Northampton County. And we're going to hear from our county executive, Lamont McClure, in a couple of minutes. But I want to mention here, while I have the microphone, how incredibly helpful Northampton County has been. Lamont, thank you for all of the incredible financial support, all of the support with County Council and throughout the county, because we've talked about this is not just something for people here in the city of Bethlehem, but it's for the Lehigh Valley. So Northampton County and Lamont were added as one of those council members in the past couple of years. But Mayor Donchez, who we wanted to be here today, I had asked him to come. He's feeling a little bit under the weather. He was going to deliver this part, and he sends his regrets. But he put together the World Heritage Council, which has been the kind of central decision-making structure for our World Heritage nomination. It is, as I'm going to talk about in a couple of minutes, in our dossier that kind of lays out how we are the local management plan. But he also created the World Heritage Commission, which were a bunch of members from our community, some of the important institutions, and I know several of them are here that I wanted to recognize. I saw, obviously, our great friend Hank Barnett. I think I saw Bruce Haynes before from Hotel Bethlehem. Right there's Bruce. We saw Dr. Helbley, president from Lehigh University. We have Alex Michaels, our CEO of Discover Lehigh Valley. We have Charlene, obviously. We have Dr. Silva from the school district, and we have David Schaffer from Just Born. I saw David before. Where were you? I see him. Somewhere was he? Where'd he go? He was here somewhere. Anyway, but this World Heritage Commission then. So the councils met monthly. The commission has met every couple of months as a way to be able to start thinking about what is the long-term impact of this throughout the different parts of not only the city of Bethlehem, but also the Lehigh Valley. This has been a key part of our nomination. One of the things that made our nomination so strong was the unbelievable community support. And once again, I want to thank Mayor Donchez for putting together both of these structures that really helped to convince not just the other countries, but everybody with UNESCO and everybody that ended up voting on our particular nomination, just how seriously we take this. So I really want to thank everybody here, and just let's give them all a round of applause. So then I'm going to do my best, Charlene, and move through these next slides quickly. If you could go to the next one here. This is our, obviously, 4 sites. And one of the things that we're excited about is the idea, and one of the reasons we were successful is because it wasn't just us. I'm not sure if it was just the city of Bethlehem, if we would have had a strong enough nomination, but the fact that we have our partners in Germany, in Northern Ireland, and Christiansfeld, Denmark, who really led this process. They were the first ones to be inscribed back in 2015. And we have met every couple of months as well with our transnational working group with our incredible consultant, Barry Gamble. You may have seen him around to be able to get ready for that moment that we had in India. Okay, so if we skip ahead here till 2021, we had the representatives from the 4 sites meet here in Bethlehem and signed the voluntary association agreement on December 15th at an official meeting of the transnational working group. At that same meeting, the U.S. Department of the Interior authorized the historic Moravian Bethlehem National Historic Landmark District to participate in a planned multi-country nomination to the World Heritage List of Historic Moravian Church Settlements in Europe and North America. This was a big deal. Everybody came. They are coming in a couple of months as well, as I'm going to talk about. Let's skip forward here to 2022. Our nomination became the first transnational serial nomination to the World Heritage List by the United States. If you ever look up what the other World Heritage sites are in the United States, you're talking about Yellowstone National Park, you're talking about Statue of Liberty, you're talking about the things that make America what it is. And the fact that we were then, and Charlene talked about this kind of long journey, but every step of the way was thrilling. Every step of the way that we realized we were taking another step forward to be on this list. And they weren't always things we could talk about. And pre-inscription, the Department of Interior, everybody, UNESCO is like, do not talk about this, do not celebrate, do not celebrate, do not act like this is yours, do not act like this is in the bag, do not have press conferences, do not talk about it, do not talk about it, do not talk about it. And you understand, because we were still up for nomination. We were still being considered. And nobody throughout the world likes people that are entitled. And the United States was not going to be entitled when we had this nomination in front of the world. With that being said, it was challenging at some times I remember having Zooms with Charlie and other people where we'd be like, it's so exciting through the Zoom call. And then that was just it. So it is a situation where we needed to mention a couple of these events. And then in 2023, through the incredible work of Charlene, our consultant Barry Gamble, through Hank, through all of our partners who we're about to hear from, we put together the dossier. The nomination document maps other supplemental materials we submitted for inscription on the World Heritage List. This is hundreds and hundreds of pages. It's got all of the information about the different sites. We have copies. I think the library has copies as well to be able to take a look at, and it's truly a remarkable document. And it's the type of thing that, as I've said, doesn't get created in 2024 very often anymore. It's attention to detail, attention to nuance, attention to history, and it was done in a just incredible fashion. And so once again, Hank, Charlene, Barry worked on that, as did all of our partners. And without this dossier being what it was, we probably would not be standing here today. So once again, that was a big moment. And then finally, the last moment we have here was in India just a few weeks ago. I've lost track of time completely. We were inscribed on the World Heritage List. And I can tell you that the feeling that we had, and Chris Kiesler talked about this before too, is you're on the floor and you're looking and all of the rest of the world is there. And you're seeing all the nameplates. And then after we're inscribed, where people came up and they said, congratulations, but also thank you. And they said, thank you, because this is really, I've never been in a room like this, where you have people throughout the world that have a shared purpose. And the shared purpose is humanity. The shared purpose is community. The shared purpose is celebrating the idea that people are people, they should be valued, they should be celebrated, and they should be helped. And even those of us that are marginalized should be helped. And when we have ours, we help other people. And what people came up to us after reading the dossier, after hearing about our nomination, and they said, what an amazing thing for us to be voted on. What an amazing opportunity for us to come together to view in 2024 a transnational nomination, 4 different countries coming together. I'm not sure if you've looked, there's not a lot of that cooperation and collaboration these days. And people throughout the world, most of these nominations, almost all of them, I believe, were single country nominations. We had the only transnational nomination. And for the United States of America to be included in that particular group sent a message to the rest of the world that was just, it's impossible to put into words. I was fortunate based on being the mayor that was in office when this happened. But once again, we were standing there and we were thinking outside of just Hopeton, the thousands of people that deserve credit. The ability, if we could have just taken everybody from the city of Bethlehem, everybody from Lehigh Valley, and taken them onto the floor to be able to experience that. But the good news is that's what we're building. That's the spirit that we're building forever. And people want to come. They want to come to Bethlehem and they want to see this. So with that being said, we are at this point going to turn to our incredible partners to talk for a couple of minutes. And I believe first up here is Dan Seuss from the Bethlehem area Moravians, who's going to speak for a couple of minutes. Dan?
Good morning, all. Good morning, all. My name is Dan Seuss, and I am the Chief Executive Officer of the Bethlehem area Moravians. Moravian Church Settlements, Bethlehem, inscription on the World Heritage List is a very special honor for us. We'd like to congratulate our transnational partners in Germany, the United Kingdom, and Denmark, and also our local Bethlehem partners, including Moravian University, Central Moravian Church, Historic Bethlehem Museum Sites, City of Bethlehem, and Northampton County. We'd also like to formally acknowledge Dr. Charlene Sanchez-Mowers, who we believe was the primary driving force of World Heritage inscription. The Bethlehem area Moravians, or BAM as it's called, is the direct descendant organization of the original Moravian settlers who founded this community. The proverbial butcher, baker, candlestick makers who plied their trade along the Monocacy and lived in the heart of our district. Many of these newly inscribed sites are our sites, which have never left our possession since creation, and we have been caretakers for over 283 years. Caretaker is a word we use a lot in the BAM organization, as it's how we view our roles, and that's our organizational culture. We are caretakers first. And although it is this generation who ultimately succeeded in World Heritage inscription, it was the previous generation's caretakers who toiled in anonymity in preserving these sites, which allow this inscription to happen. We believe these sites are tangible representation of Moravian ideals of charity, equality, compassion, heritage, preservation, and education. These ideals are not part of our past history. Rather, they're the ideals we base our current operations on and our future. The old chapel is still an important place of worship for this community. The Single Sisters House, which we believe is the longest continuous dormitory for women in the United States, still provides housing to an underserved community, much like it did 250 years ago. The Gemein House, home to Moravian Museum, still provides education on our heritage and our history. The World Heritage inscription to us really is an affirmation and acknowledgement of these important ideals and the value the Moravian congregation has not only brought to the local community, but also the world community. Thank you for your time today, and it's my honor to bring Reverend Janelle Rice, Senior Pastor of Central Church.
Well, it is with deep gratitude to our congregation as senior pastor at Central Moravian Church, to my privilege to represent the members of not only Central, but our 6 Moravian churches here in Bethlehem, many more in the greater Lehigh Valley and the northern province of the Moravian Church. As we worship weekly in 2 of the newly inscribed World Heritage buildings, the 1751 Old Chapel and the 1806 Sanctuary, we are so grateful to be part of this designation of World Heritage. But what's more, we are so grateful to truly live out our Moravian church heritage as community builders. The Moravian Church Settlements have been recognized certainly for the architecture and the craftsmanship that is expressed in these characteristic buildings, but also for the ways that these buildings are guiding the social and ethical principles and the continuation of the Moravian Church's activities and traditions up until this day. In other words, our Moravian heritage sites are living expressions of buildings and mission for ministry, God's love being shared through the structures that we have created. So certainly some of our context has changed since 1741, but at the heart of Bethlehem and the ministry of Central, we continue to believe that we are building and striving to be builders and sustainers of community here in this church and the greater community. And I believe this is a radically vital need in our contemporary society, to build and sustain community, to bring individuals together from diverse places, and to remind them that they are loved as part of God's creation, valued and valuable wherever they come from, and they have a role to play in our greater society. As the Central Moravian Church community, we strive to continue to be builders of this radically inclusive and beloved community that also addresses our community's greater needs, the basic needs for food and housing, as we reach out in our food pantry, our participation with the Bethlehem Emergency Shelter, but also recognizing our mental, physical, and spiritual needs. Our committees span so many of those: mental health, environmental care, again, the basic food needs of our community, our myriad of education, music, community building, and fellowship opportunities are all here at Central. We have started this summer to start sharing our story through open houses and tours. We continue to look forward to opening our buildings on Fridays and Saturdays beginning in September from 2 to 4 for both individuals needing to take a look, but also guided tours. Currently, we invite you to join us any Saturday from 2 to 4 to our look in the sanctuary and also our old chapel on Fridays. Our summer worship, I wouldn't be a pastor if I didn't invite you to worship. So our summer worship is at 10 a.m. and we'll transition to our regular schedule beginning in September. Again, and I'd just like to note, if I had a clock like this in our sanctuary, our congregation would probably be happy to have. I've been standing here looking at this all. But again, with gratitude and blessings as we receive this recognition with our community and join together with our transnational Moravian partners. It's now my honor to introduce our next door neighbor, literally, from the Historic Bethlehem Museums and Sites, the CEO and President of Historic Bethlehem Museums and Sites, Lorianne Wuchek.
Good morning, and thank you, Janelle. It is a pleasure to be here to celebrate Bethlehem's inclusion in the Moravian Church Settlements inscription. Our organization cares for 20 historic sites, 2 national landmarks, and approximately 14 acres of property. This honor today belongs to the entire community. As Dan Seuss highlighted, each organization has a role in this inscription, where Bethlehem Area Moravians is a caretaker, Historic Bethlehem Museums and Sites is a steward. At Historic Bethlehem Museums and Sites, our donors, our volunteers, our staff are honored to educate the public about these historic treasures. We guide visitors through the rich tapestry of our past, where every building, artifact, and story weaves the vibrant narrative of Bethlehem. In doing this, we honor the visionary women who paved the way for preserving and sharing Bethlehem's unique heritage. From the early Moravian sisters, women have been pivotal in shaping our community. You can see that legacy in 1937 when Jeanette Zug and Miriam Taylor led historic tours for visiting Rotarians' wives. They raised funds to open the Moravian Museum of Bethlehem and dedicated their lives to preserving our history. And in fact, today, our collections contain the original tour scripts that they created along with the first published tour guide. This legacy continued in 1968 when Christine Sims and Francis Martin saved the 1810 Gundy House from demolition by bravely protesting in the face of the wrecking ball. Fast forward now to 2002, Charlene Donchez Maurer started the work to have Bethlehem inscribed as a World Heritage Site. These remarkable women didn't achieve these successes alone. They had a community of unwavering supporters. The collective vision has resonated throughout the centuries, fostering a community that values its heritage while embracing the future. At historic Bethlehem museums and sites, we don't just preserve historic sites and buildings, we create immersive experiences that connect visitors to our collective history. Thank you for your support and joining us today in celebrating this significant milestone. We want to recognize our partner institutions, Bethlehem Area Moravians, Central Moravian Church, the City of Bethlehem, Moravian University, and the County of Northampton. Together, we will ensure the legacy of the Moravian Church Settlements in Bethlehem endures for generations to come. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Nicole Lloyd. I serve as the Executive Vice President for University Life, Chief Operating Officer, and Dean of Students at Moravian University. Moravian University President Brian Grigsby is still traveling abroad after helping represent Bethlehem at the World Heritage Committee meeting in New Delhi, India on July 26th. I am happy to represent him today and read this statement on his behalf. Moravian University is deeply honored by the World Heritage Committee's decision to finalize the inscription of the Moravian Church Settlements, Bethlehem, and is proud to have participated in the nomination process as part of the Bethlehem World Heritage Council and Commission. We join our partners, the City of Bethlehem, Bethlehem Area Moravians, Central Moravian Church, Historic Bethlehem Museum and Sites, Northampton County, and others in recognition of this outstanding achievement. In addition, Moravian University is extremely proud to be just the second university in the United States to be part of a UNESCO World Heritage designation site, and only the 8th university in the world to have this very prestigious recognition. The City of Bethlehem, Central Moravian Church, and Moravian University have deep connected history that dates back to 1742. We look forward to being a part of a community that shares the Moravian Church Settlements on a local, national, and international level for years to come. Thank you.
Burgermeister tripped me on the way up here. Speaking of our mayor, J. William Reynolds, there are so many superlatives that could be attached to him with respect to the inscription of the Moravian Church Settlements, Bethlehem, in partnership, serial partnership with those settlements around the world. But Mayor, I think the one thing that you did best in this entire process was continue Stephanie Agello's involvement. Where is she? Where is she? And expanded her role. Stephanie's organizational skills are unmatched, and she has the absolute demeanor to put an international serial nomination together and help us hold it together. So, Mayor, great job with that. Reverend Rice looked at the clock, and so in light of that, I'll be brief. And it's appropriate that we're last, and we're last because we did the least, but in some ways the most important thing. The citizens of Northampton County appreciate that Bethlehem is the beating heart of Northampton County, and they appreciate that Bethlehem is the beating heart of Northampton County because of its Moravian cultural heritage. And that's why, through their representatives on Northampton County Council, who deserve the lion's share of the credit in this regard, put hundreds of thousands of dollars of their money into this inscription effort. And they did that because they understood that the preservation of this cultural heritage, and oh, by the way, as we'll hear in a moment or two, the potential tourism advantages were so important. So to Northampton County Council, I say thank you very much. And I want to talk a little bit about how the money got spent, because Hank and Charlene were incredibly frugal with spending the limited funds that they were granted. But Hank called me one day. Lamont, Hank Barnett here. Hi, Hank. How are you? Good. There's this man, Barry Gamble. He's like the James Bond of World Heritage. And, you know, I think the founding Moravians would be proud. I said, Hank, how much? Lamont, the Japanese spent $20 million on that. All right, Hank, hire the James Bond of World Heritage. And what a tremendous hire he was. There are so many tiles in this mosaic that led ultimately to the inscription, but I think Charlene and Hank would agree that Barry Gamble was probably several of those tiles. Because you know, when you have competitors around the world, they work a little differently than we do in America, and it's good to have somebody to help you navigate that terrain. And finally, and I'll sit down because I'm mindful of Reverend Rice's admonition about the clock. Northampton County Council has once again decided to invest in a bridge to the future of World Heritage and has just recently authorized the expenditure of another $100,000 to that effort. So. I thank County Council for sharing our vision in that regard. And I'll turn it back to the Burgermeister. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Lamont, and Stephanie truly is a treasure. I learned a long time ago one of the most important things you can do is surround yourself by people that are good at things you're not good at, and Steph is that. I do want to recognize. I see former Mayor Callahan is here, who spent 10 years helping. He was the next conversation after that first one with Don was probably Charlene. You called John once or twice, right? So it was John's got that look. So, but it is obviously. The question, though, now becomes like, well, what's next? And there's a couple of things that we wanted to talk about. Obviously, the kind of official inscription signing documents is we are honored to be hosting that here in the city of Bethlehem. And that will be October 17th through the 19th. And there was a lot of conversation about this, but as the United States being the leaders of this nomination, the other countries were in agreement that they wanted to come to Bethlehem and they wanted to come here. So we are in the planning process of planning what those days are going to look like, the official signing. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of state and federal dignitaries here at that time to be a part of that, and that will be that's when we will sign all of the documents, and we will be good to go there. And then the other thing that we're planning, and this was something that Bishop Clennon thought was important, was a community celebration. As I had said before, this nomination had been won because of the planning process, because of some of the things desired by the United States government and Department of Interior. It's not been a very public process. And one of the things that we are always thinking about here in City Hall is how do we create things that are inclusive? And I said this last night at City Council meetings, the majority of the people that live in the city of Bethlehem are not Moravians. And that's okay. The majority of the people that live in the city of Bethlehem are not people that will look at this and say that's necessarily my faith. But this is something that is going to be owned by everybody. It is owned by everybody within our community. People within the Moravian Church like to say it doesn't matter where you are in your faith's journey. I've heard Reverend Rice say that before. Well, we say that too about the city of Bethlehem, is it doesn't matter to us how long you have been here. It doesn't matter whether or not you moved here a year ago, or you came here 43 years ago, or you came here 50-some years ago, or whatever it is. The beautiful thing about our country, about our city, is that we welcome everybody. And one of the things that we are committed to is making sure that this nomination is something that works for all 77,000, 78,000 people that live within our community and throughout the Lehigh Valley. And with that being said, it was important to Hopeton, and it's important to us that we have a community celebration. Now, there was conversation about having that in October at the end of this kind of official welcoming of the other countries. We thought, and I thought, that it needs more time than that. We need to be very intentional about how we're designing this. There are a lot of questions out there, and this is the only time I'm going to say this today, but there are people, obviously, that look at World Heritage in the city of Bethlehem and say, is that for me? What does that have to do with my experience? What's that going to do for housing costs? What's that going to do for things within the city as far as food access and things like that? Is it going to make my life any easier when I'm one of those marginalized communities, as Reverend Bennett talked about today? So we need to think about how World Heritage is going to work for everybody. And the centerpiece of that and the kickoff to that is going to be the celebration that we're going to do in the spring. That is going to be based on this idea that this is welcome to everybody. And it's not just about those buildings. As we said, it is about those qualities, about the ideals of the Moravian Church that truly are remarkable. But we need to live out those ideals, and we need to take those ideals and make sure that they are working for everybody. So we will be having that community celebration in 2025, and we are going to spend the next 8-9 months planning that. We do not have a date yet, but I don't know when it's going to be, but I know what it's going to feel like. And when we have more details, we will share that. So in the meantime, obviously, we have a lot to talk about as far as the marketing and building momentum of our inscription. And to do that, I'm going to turn to two of the people that we trust the most to talk about that. And that's Alex Michaels, President and CEO of Discover Lehigh Valley, and Craig Larimer, Special Projects Manager from Moravian University.
Well, thank you, Mayor. And again, I had the honor to actually be here, but because of the position at Discover Lehigh Valley. But I can tell you, these kind of wins and celebration makes my job a lot more fun and a lot more exciting each and every day. For the past few weeks, I've been watching the Olympics, and every 4 years or every couple of years, we get to watch these athletes, and they have this dream, and they continue to work towards that dream. But what I really love about the Olympics is not so much of the gold medals or all the accomplishments, but it's the stories of how those Olympians got there. And watching these past few weeks, I was listening to those stories and all the people that were involved with getting that athlete to that podium. And I can tell you that it's the story of Bethlehem. What we've been witnessing here, and the perseverance and the patience, it's been an honor. So if Charlene was our athlete, everyone in this room was that village that was surrounding her and helping her get to that finish line and that gold medal. That being said, I'm here today to kind of talk about what's next and, what can we do together to work. On behalf of the region, on behalf of Lehigh and Northampton County, I have the pleasure of helping brand this destination and working and marketing the area, making people aware of these great accomplishments that are happening here. So one of the things I talked about today, I was thinking about, was putting some notes together and saying, what are we going to do? Obviously, Craig is going to talk about some of the activations and things that are happening here, how we're going to continue to do PR. But, one of the first things that we're going to work on is to continue to build brand identity and have a unifying message. One of the things that we do as a DMO and for Lehigh and Northampton County is to put an umbrella over this beautiful region. And we're going to continue to do that with World Heritage. We're going to work on launching joint marketing campaigns and social media initiatives. If you know me, I've doubled down on digital advertising, moving everything to web platforms, because I do truly believe with the funding opportunities we have and what we can do more on this digital platform. We're going to continue to optimize website and enhance online presence. We're going to initiate strong partnerships, partnerships like Visit PA, who Ann is here with us today. We're very fortunate to have her with us here. Organizations like Brand USA. Of course, I'll be working on behalf of the county and the city of Bethlehem and all its stakeholders. We'll work with organizations and tour operators to continue to elevate Bethlehem and the Lehigh Valley forward. We'll promote this region and make international suggestive itineraries. People always ask me, what exactly does that mean? We're going to tell people this is what you need to do. Hey, you're coming here for Music Fest for a week. While you're here, you cannot miss taking a look at this World Heritage Site, how important it is to the world. You got to be a part of your mission when you come to the Lehigh Valley. We're going to promote special events and collaborate in programming. We're going to participate in international trade shows and marketing initiatives. But most importantly, we're going to monitor and adjust our strategies as we go back. We're going to listen to feedback, and most importantly, we want to produce results. So I cannot do it alone. Obviously, Craig is behind me here because he's got the hard work of building a lot of this, but I can rest assured that Discover Lehigh Valley, on behalf of Northampton County and Lehigh County, will continue to invest and keep putting their best foot forward to work towards this and make sure that everyone nationally and internationally knows what a great accomplishment this place is and how beautiful the Lehigh Valley is. That being said, I have the honor to pass it on to Mr. Craig.
Thanks so much, Alex. I'm Craig Larimer, a lifelong Bethlehem resident, proud and active member of Central Moravian Church, presently working on special projects at Moravian University, and this is my most special project that I'm working on. So I'm so happy to be here with all of you and share some of the practical things that we've done so far and some of our plans going forward. First, I'd like to thank Alex Michaels and Discover Lehigh Valley for their support and resources as we've developed and executed on our World Heritage marketing strategy. I'd also like to thank Mike Core. I'm not sure if Mike is still here. I hope he's still here. Hi, Mike. I'd like to thank Mike Core and the entire Moravian University marketing and communications team for their additional hard work, guidance, collaboration, photography, and creative contributions along the way. You guys are awesome, so thank you so much. Now it's my pleasure to tell you about the global reach of our World Heritage story. It's pretty impressive and exciting when you see a good story travel so far and so fast. And having been on the other side of this as an editor and a reporter at the Morning Call, and some of my former Morning Call colleagues are here, bad news travels fast. It's so refreshing to see this good news story reach so many people so quickly. And we're just over a week, and the response has been fantastic. Our World Heritage story has been picked up in over 650 publications, domestically and worldwide. We have had some fantastic partners in telling those stories. Patty Stefanik is here from Vault Communications. Thank you for being here, Patty. Thanks for all you've done to help us share the story. Patty helped us at Moravian University and with our Moravian Church Settlements marketing team to identify a set of correspondents in India. Orion Public Relations were our arm in India, who were able to capture photos and tell stories and videos, many of which I haven't even seen yet because there's so much material, but it's my intention now to go through there, sift that, and share that with all of you. So thank you, Patty, for all your help. As I mentioned, over 650 publications domestically and worldwide, including Yahoo News, The Guardian UK, The Associated Press, MSN, Wall Street Online, Deutschland Today, which is my favorite name of a publication, Travel and Leisure, Today's Traveler, and Wanderlust Travel Magazine. Notable local and regional reporting includes coverage from WHYY, PBS in Philadelphia, PBS 39 in the Lehigh Valley, NBC 10 Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Inquirer, WHYY, NPR, Philadelphia area, Lehigh Valley Business, WFMZ TV, WDIY NPR, The Morning Call, Lehigh Valley Live, Lehigh Valley News, and on and on and on and on. I'm mentioning this because everyone has been attracted to this story. And people have been asking me, what can I do? What can I do to help you promote the story? Well, get to know the story, get to know the history of the Moravians, and share that story. That's what you can do. And if you're in the press, and if you can reach a lot of people, do what you can to help us share that story. It's a wonderful story. It's an amazing story. It's a story I'm still learning. The more I learn, the more I don't know about it. But the more I learn about it, the more attracted I am to it. So I invite you to learn the story. I just said Multiple news outlets have interviewed our Bethlehem leaders, including Mayor Reynolds, Hank Barnett, Charlene Donchez-Mowers, and President Brian Grigsby. They were featured in local, regional, and national press. We expect many more to come, and we'll continue to pitch our story for additional spin-off features and sidebars. Count on that. Additionally, a video message of Mayor Reynolds' reaction to our inscription has been broadcast on YouTube, on social media, and on our new website. And thank you to George Wacker from Lehigh Valley with Love for helping us put that together. If you haven't seen the video, check it out. It looks great. You look great. The message is fantastic. Speaking of our website, on the morning of our inscription, we launched MoravianChurchSettlements.org, which serves as our primary marketing tool and information hub. If you have not seen it, please check it out. That's MoravianChurchSettlements.org. We have an image here. This comprehensive website has been engineered and designed to introduce and spotlight the 4 Moravian church settlements in Bethlehem, Christiansfeld, Gracehill, and Herrnhut. The key website features include narratives of the 4 settlements, photography, videos, news updates, maps, and resource links. We've established dedicated Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube accounts to share photos, videos, headlines, and links to the Moravian Church Settlements website, as well as to repost published media content about our story. And finally, a word about our Moravian Church Settlements logo. We developed the logo with Kudu Creative in Easton. The logo features a woodcut style rendering of the 1745 bell house belfry and a 26-point Moravian star. You can expect to see more of this logo around town as we engage it to promote our World Heritage attractions and our Moravian Church Settlements Bethlehem story. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Craig and Alex. And it's a great transition. One of the things Craig talked about is how many people are interested in this. And a few weeks ago, the governor of Pennsylvania, Governor Shapiro, was here, and he was making a couple exciting announcements, but he kept having questions for me about World Heritage. And he knew what it meant for not just our region, but for the state of Pennsylvania. And I'm about to welcome up Ann Ryan, who's the Deputy Secretary of Tourism. Governor Shapiro wanted to be here today to talk about our vision for the future, about promoting that vision for the future. He's been busy. Yesterday, he was promoting an even more important vision for the future that will have a shorter timeline of importance than this. So with that being said, this is an exciting moment for the state of Pennsylvania. And the governor's office and the tourism office and Ann have been really, really excited and want to be a part of this program today. So that being said, I'd like to welcome up Ann Ryan, the Deputy Secretary of Tourism for the Pennsylvania Department of Community Economic Development.
Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. If Governor Shapiro were here, he would definitely say, you got it done. Yes. 21 years and 3 months, 22 years and 3 months of tenacious dedication has finally paid off. The Moravian Church Settlements Bethlehem are being recognized for the incredible meaning and significance that they bring to this world. And I really want to underscore that point, that the settlements here, they join the ranks of Independence Hall, which marks where our nation was founded and democracy was born, right? They now share the stage with Falling Water, which was imagined and built by Frank Lloyd Wright, who fundamentally changed the way we interact with the built environment, the way we live, the way we work. And so the meaning of this designation, as we see it at the state, is that the world we live in would be fundamentally different, perhaps fundamentally less humane, if the Moravian Church Settlements in Bethlehem did not exist. And thanks to all of you today, and many who came before you, as I understand it, we will never need to imagine a world without this relic to treasure. Now, selfishly, from the state tourism perspective, this designation couldn't have come at a better time. We all know how important tourism is to Pennsylvania's economy, with nearly $77 billion in economic impact. The benefit is so massive that the Shapiro administration has doubled down on tourism as a critical industry to invest in PA. And yes, while the state's mission is to attract visitors in droves to experience the Great American Getaway, tourism is also about evoking civic pride. And I just really can't imagine the amount of pride that residents here in the city of Bethlehem must feel with having a World Heritage designation. But now, as this being the third site in our Commonwealth, every Pennsylvanian now has pretty impressive bragging rights, as far as I'm concerned. And so it's moments like this that make Governor Shapiro even more excited to have bipartisan support for his newly passed budget, which includes $15 million for tourism. And it's because of this budget that we now have so many opportunities to tell the world about the thousands of experiences that are quintessential to America, that define America at its best, that you can find here in Pennsylvania, with the Moravian Heritage Site raising the bar and leading the way. Visit PA is celebrating today on Instagram. So if you don't follow us, please do. We're celebrating the designation. And we will never stop promoting the World Heritage Site here in the city of Bethlehem. So congratulations again on the designation. The Great American Getaway just got a whole lot greater, which I thank you for. And I hope you never stop celebrating. It's such a historic moment. So now I am so honored to turn it over to Hank Barnett, Vice Chair of Bethlehem World Heritage Commission and Council.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I first express my deep respect and my deep appreciation to you, Charlene, for all you have done, which others have spoken to, but I wish first to express that and thank you and commend you. And second, my dear friend Arlen Specter, if he were speaking now, he would take off his watch. He would put it on the counter. Some of you know the story. And he would say, that's to give you the false impression that I'm going to obey the clock. So it's with that spirit, Mayor, may I talk a little business for a few minutes? It's been my privilege to serve as Vice Chair of the Commission and the Council since that appointment by Mayor Donchez, which Mayor Reynolds has continued, and also to chair the transnational working group, the coming together of the 4 sites and their representatives. We've met on a monthly basis at that level for nearly 8 years. The Commission and the Council have met, the Council on a monthly basis, the Commission on a quarterly basis. So that's the background of the different parties and the different experts who have been associated with this. The first thing that was required, and as Charlene and I discuss and report on this World Heritage site and process, we divided into 4 basic phases, and maybe this is helpful to you. But the first phase is 300 years right up to today and now forever. It's what the Moravian Church, the settlements, the people, the leaders, the communities have all done together, and they keep right on doing it. And that, as Dan Seuss said so well, that's permanent. That's forever. We don't need a conservation easement on our properties. We've been attending to them for 300 years. But that's the first and the overall phase for all of us to keep in mind. But the second phase is what Charlene has discussed, picks it up sort of in 2008 and takes it up to that critical 2016 period where we're on the tentative list, and that's where I became more actively involved. Because what we had to do was get the United States to nominate us. That's a complex process, which I won't dwell upon, but the product of that process is a nomination document. This is available in hard text. It's available online. But it's a multi-page document that sets forth our case. The United States did that. But they also joined with Germany, the United Kingdom, Northern Ireland, and Denmark to make it transnational. 4 countries, 4 sites, integrated into one Moravian Church settlement. Once we filed that nomination document, we had to be evaluated. That was done by ICOMOS, the International Council on Monument Sites, a highly respected professional group of professors, architects, historians. They took this document page by page, and they sent an assessor here to look at the properties and interview the people. And we had a very thorough inspection, but so did every other site. That was the evaluation. They then filed a report to the World Heritage Committee, 21 representatives of 21 countries, independent of everyone, provided for in a treaty signed by the United States and about 190 other countries. And they meet once a year, and they look at the nominations and decide whether to vote them onto the World Heritage List or not. And if they do, as we were privileged to receive that nomination and election on July the 26th, that would complete sort of that third phase, if you will. So we're now in the fourth phase, and we started that on July the 26th. We're in the hereafter, we're in the inscribed phase. And essentially, today, nothing changes. Our council, our commission are so proud of what we have been and what we are today that for the present, we will continue as is. The property owners and the property owners, according to the United States government and to UNESCO, have signed commitments. Dan, the mayor, President Grigsby, signed commitments to the United States and to UNESCO to continue to develop, protect, preserve, and conserve these properties forever. That's the commitment. That's the understanding. So we will continue as is. Mayor, under your direction as chair of our council and commission, as mayor and chief executive officer of our city. A couple of names, if I may mention them. Barry Gamble of the United Kingdom has been our consultant and our coordinator, assisted by Frederica Hansel, who at the time we started was World Heritage for Saxony, Germany, a state of Germany, and has since been promoted to be the focal point for all of Germany on World Heritage. But Barry and Frederica, we should mention, Mayor. Additionally, our partners in the other sites they have been referred to before, they'll all be here during that period in October for the recognition activities. And finally, a recognition of the Chief of International Affairs of the National Park Service. That is the United States officer most responsible for coordination, not only with Bethlehem, but with the other sites. And in the beginning, that was Mr. Stephen Morris, assisted by a historian, Phyllis Helen. Stephen and Phyllis have both retired, and more recently, it's been Jonathan Putnam, who was the acting chief of the Office of International Affairs. He's provided exceptional advice and assistance to us and was present with Mayor Reynolds in New Delhi. Barry Gamble, in his way, has given us some advice, shared with, of course, our council often, but most recently in May. And he talked about the future structure, future conduct. Says the aim is for long-term structural stability and not short-term reactive change. We hope that that guides us in our planning for the future. Thank you, Mayor.
So we are just about done. I did want to welcome up State Representative Steve Samuelson, who I believe has a proclamation to share.
Thank you, Mayor Reynolds. I have actually two proclamations to share. What a magnificent day. I want to thank every person in this room who has done so much to bring this day to us. I want to thank Charlene for the 22 years, 3 months, and 14 days that you have worked on this. And thank you for everything. And the 25 members of the World Heritage Commission. Every person in this room knows what a special place this is, what a special community we live in. And the spirit, the joy, the light of this community has shined for generations across the country and beyond. Now, with this designation, our history, our cultural heritage is recognized and appreciated around the world. So first, I'd like to start. We do have a citation from the Pennsylvania House of Representatives, sponsored by me and Representative Jeannie McNeil on behalf of our community. I'm just going to read just one part of it. Moravian Church Settlements Bethlehem stands as a reflection and a tribute to the resilience of a community built on universal human ideals that are essential and relevant to this day, and it preserves and advances the ageless values of education, equality, industry, integrity, and spirituality that have been part of this community since its inception. And it's also signed by our Speaker of the House, Joanna McClinton. You've also heard about another steadfast friend that Bethlehem has from Mayor Reynolds and Deputy Secretary Ryan. Josh Shapiro, he sent a letter congratulating this momentous occasion. It is my pleasure to recognize Moravian Church Settlements Bethlehem for being named to the UNESCO World Heritage List. Pennsylvania thrives when our historic, cultural, and spiritual institutions help their communities thrive. The UNESCO World Heritage List is a collection of natural and cultural such sites around the world that are considered to be of exceptional value to humanity. Moravian Church Settlements has shown an universal effort in preserving, protecting, and celebrating our history. Now these efforts are being showcased to the world. I am proud to congratulate Moravian Church Settlements on its addition to the UNESCO World Heritage List, and I am confident that this recognition will continue to inspire for many, many years to come. As governor and on behalf of all Pennsylvanians, I am happy to recognize Moravian Church Settlements of Bethlehem for being named to the UNESCO World Heritage List. Please accept my best wishes for continued success. Signed, Governor Josh Shapiro.
As we wrap up here, I just want to one more time thank everybody. I want to thank all of our incredible council partners. Most of all, obviously, for the last time today, thank you, Charlene, for all of your incredible work. It has been a long time coming, but I also want to thank everybody here and everybody in the city of Bethlehem and within our incredible institutions, because this truly was the culmination of hundreds of years of work to establish Bethlehem as a special place. And as we depart today, and I think everybody here will be available for any questions if anybody from the media has, I think that, the best way is, some of you may know, my first job out of college was working for Steve. And I remember Steve told me on day one is, no matter who walks in that door, they get your attention and they get your help and they get your love. And the Moravian idea of in all things love, it's all things. We don't choose, we don't pick and choose. It's all things love. That's what this is about. That's what makes Bethlehem special. That's what makes our community special. What defines us is that it's not just about us, it's about other people. And now the world is recognizing that as well. So thank you for coming today. Thank you.